It's October 22nd, 2014, in front of the White House. And there's two young guys that must have just stopped being cadets amongst the Secret Service. And they're riding their bike around the people. It's 7 o'clock, early 7 o'clock hour. There's a guy that emerged out of the crowd just after the presidential helicopter left with Barack and Michelle, maybe the girls. We don't know if the girls were with him. And now it's 7:08. Okay, fast forward 8 minutes later, and there's a guy that emerges out of the crowd. Again, there's only 2 bicycle cops riding around in between the crowd. There's a total of 8. So 6 of them were just talking to each other. Weren't minding nothing on a Friday evening in October. So it was already approaching sundown.
I'm going to stop real quick here. I'm on the Archangel 15 with Felipo from the Peace Tent in Washington, D.C. Felipo's been here long and strong since 1981, telling it like it is, fighting a good fight against nuclear proliferation. The tent used to be up here in front of the White House. They're grandfathered in. They tried to shut them down. As long as somebody's here 24 hours a day, they're allowed to stay. I'm going to put the microphone back on Felipo. As always, bringing it to you live and real here on the Archangel 15. Thank you, Felipo, for your time.
So it's 54 times that they've tried to remove us. And so there's a guy that emerges out of the crowd, and I see him, and I noticed he had come, and it's October 22nd. So he had come the weekend before, October 15th, 14th, and he had lifted his shirt and shown me that he had a hatchet. But it's October, and people dress, and he had a wild man costume on. And I said, okay, Thanksgiving. A lot of people dress up in October on a weekend. They're going to a party, I'm assuming. And he goes, what do you think? And I go, I thought quick. And I started singing the Elton John song, Rocket Man, but I changed it to Hatchet Man. Okay. So I see him emerge, and he puts one step on the bricking and puts a hand on one of the top bars. This is when the fence was only 8 feet tall. And I go, there's a jumper. As he's jumping over, there's a jumper. You know, people get their phones out and fucking videotape. All right? Guys zigzagging on the White House lawn. They don't release the dogs. They don't do anything on the roof. They just they just said stop. But the things he was doing, it looks like he's gone through basic training. He's gone through boot camp. We later found out he served tour of duties in Iraq. And to my amazement, when he got to the front door
Of the White House.
He turned the doorknob and walked his ass in.
And there's been several other jumpers in the past that you've seen.
The dogs take him down right. It's like, why didn't the dogs take him down? Why didn't the guys on the roof? Oh, by protocol, the guys on the roof stay on the roof for 15 minutes because the helicopter had left in case for some reason it has to rebound and come back, right? So they're still on the roof. This is then. I roll into the vigilante as they're yelling everything. Up to 8th Street, up to 8th Street. They're yelling it out. You know, they knew they fucked up. I said, screwed up. I shouldn't have cussed on yours.
No, it's fine.
But they knew that they had really boned out. I'm typing away. I'm sending the photo that I got. And then a Department of Justice black unmarked sedan, Dodge Charger, comes up. You know, they lower the gates for them anytime they want to get in there. He gets out and starts cussing out the cops. And I felt bad for the 2 guys that were doing their job out of the 8. Out of the 8, 2 guys were earning their money.
The Secret Service.
Our tax money. Only 2 Secret Service out of the 8. Well, I got up here and I told the story as I saw it, because this guy, he zoomed around the front. He got into the White House, and the second light to the left on the top, what looks like the top from the front, there's one more level, but it looks like from the front, that light went on, which is the light with the computers. This guy, he's going to yank things from the computer. It's but those 6 ended up losing their job. I came up here, I did interviews with Ethiopia Gazeta, with Kenya Kiswahili, with Contact Network, ABC, NBC, CBS.
So this was like a catalyst to a much bigger event.
Yeah, because the guy had a large knife with him. He touched 8 interior doorknobs. They have his fingerprints on 8 interior. That's how long it took for somebody to take him down. He walked by a female Secret Service that had changed into her civilian clothes. So he just thought, oh, cook, maid, cleaning lady, whatever. He shouldn't have thought that. Because he grabbed the guy by the scruff of the back of his hair and slammed his face to the marble. Because he had a knife on him. She was lucky she didn't have to do a frontal attack. He was trained, she's trained. He's decently muscular, because I saw him lift his shirt to show me the hatchet. When I came up here, I don't know his name. I think I once did know his name, but I forgot it. Like I read it in the newspapers. Right? But they tried to cover up that they tackled him at the front, right when he got in the door.
And none of this made mainstream news.
3 weeks later, everything that I said to Ethiopia Gazeta and Kenya Kiswahili and the Spanish newspapers that they printed, but the English-speaking papers did not want to print it. And then 3 weeks later, only the Washington Post said, as Felipo Malacubello had told us on the night of the incident. 3 weeks later, when they're getting everything that they can get from the Department of Justice, Department of the Interior, Secret Service, when the 6 were fired, and I don't think that the department head should have been fired. She didn't tell the 6 to drop the ball, don't do your job, don't watch the White House fence. There should have been a dog there. There was at least 350 people on a Friday night. 350 people on a Friday night? There should have been a dog there.
Yeah.
That dog, you know, it knows nervousness. It knows adrenaline. It also knows gunpowder. I mean, he didn't have a weapon with that kind of a weapon with him. He had a knife. He didn't have the hatchet that he had shown me a couple days before. Well, who knows? Maybe that weekend before. I'm sorry, not a weekend before. Maybe he was thinking of doing it too. He might have been thinking of doing it. But it's a weekend, and it's a weekend before Donald J. Trump is in office, so it's Friday. I mean, when he came up on the weekend before, it was Saturday, so there was like 2,000, 3,000 people that were either in the park or on the street. Because it's not Donald J. Trump. Right? And it's not a weekend with Donald J. Trump where you had your 60 people or 150 people. It was a weekend with a very popular president, Barack Obama. So that's why there was a lot of people on that weekend. So that's probably why he didn't want to do it on the Saturday. On the Friday, it's the beginning of the weekend, but 7 o'clock. Wasn't like 3:30 like it was on the Saturday when I seen him before. There's a lot of reasons why he didn't do it that time, but he had a friggin' hatchet. And I just thought it might have been a toy hatchet.
Wow. So this was usually when Obama was in?
Yeah, this
Okay.
it's October 2014.
So, Felipo, if you could, I'm not trying to take too much of your time, but if you could just please tell us the events leading up to the major riots and the protests with the George Floyd protests. Could you please fill us in on that?
Okay, the night that I heard about George Floyd being killed, I was saying, oh no, another black man. So I made a poster that showed all the things that you're supposed to get between stopped, cuffed, searched, Mirandized, transported to the police department, fingerprinted, photographed, booked, put in a cell. Booked, charged, put in a cell, and then eventually trial by a jury of your peers. All the things that you're supposed to have, right? Your day in court, sentencing, verdict. All of this you're supposed to have, and if you did something so heinous, death. Not stopped death. So on the black side, stop death. On the white side, all these legal processes that you're supposed to have when you are stopped for an infraction. Now that's stopped for an infraction. They'll kill you sometimes, and they don't even have any proof or evidence of what they've done, but then they find something.
Yeah.
You know about the planning of things. I know.
So we know about what happened, and then
So I made a poster of that night. The next day, I had the poster up on the vigil. The day after, a guy from Indiana comes, and he asks me, "Where's everyone at?" There's a young white boy from Indiana, maybe to me, I'd say, young white man, 20, 22 years old. And he wanted to stand with black people's lives being meaningful, so matters, right? So he came, and I made him a sign.
This is in the wake of all the nonsense that happened, and
this is before anything happened.
Okay.
Nobody was doing it. Okay. So then the next day, one guy from New York came. So that's Wednesday. Thursday, the guy from Indiana came back, and two guys from New York, but not that same guy, came. And they thought, this is bullshit. Why is there only this guy? And then my friend Joe Brown would come for an hour to have lunch with me. And he'd go, why is this guy? And the guy from Indiana saw Joe Brown. The other guys didn't, because they didn't come at the right time. But Joe Brown, me, and a guy from Indiana, another guy from New York, and then on the Thursday, two guys from New York, and that same guy from Indiana. So at least we had us four. On the Friday, again, till 7 o'clock, it's me holding the sign. Joe Brown stayed about 4 hours with me that day, held the sign. And then we saw it start. It was Friday at 7 p.m. About 200 came from the east side on Pennsylvania Avenue, and they started yelling things at a Secret Service agent. So I had it on video. I think I posted it on Instagram, that they all the Secret Service ran that way. I'm going, oh damn!
Wow,
it's starting.
So you've been here since 1981, and this is unprecedented. This is
as something standing up, as standing up for racial equality to certain principles.
This is the oppressed meets the oppressor.
Right. So then I'm looking that way, and all Secret Service are that way, and I'm hearing a noise from the west, and I look to the west, and that 200 was tripled by the people that were coming from them. They're throwing down the barricades, that the Trump administration have put up. They took the street for a little while, okay? I'm seeing all this, seeing all that. For some reason, I look behind the vigil, because I'm rolling, I'm filming, and I'm rolling, and I'm going, oh my God. From here, north of the Lafayette Square, there's another maybe 500-600 people coming. So then the pepper spray came out. It wasn't tear gas. People said tear gas. It was pepper spray that came out. I know about that stuff. I have goggles when I'm in the vigil. I have goggles, a pit helmet.
And they weren't doing it. They weren't causing any violence. They weren't causing any harm or destruction of property at this point. Correct?
No. How are you doing, sister? Much love. Yeah. Salam. Indoma na siya. Everything's good, sister. Okay, dear. Okay. What do I need? I need let's see. Your bag tips, gomen.
I will bring it this weekend.
Salata.
I got you.
So this again. I told you that I can speak on multiple languages. So
600 people, you said, emerged on the Lafayette Square.
No, there's 200 that came in from east, 600 from the west, and from the north about another 500-600. So now there's like 1,400 people. They're all yelling out for justice, right?
Yes.
Justice at this point, justice for George Floyd. I heard a few people saying justice for Breonna Taylor. It wasn't many, but it was a few. George Floyd was the powder keg that blew it all over. So then they kicked everybody out of the park, and they let my relief guy come down because they didn't tell me to leave. Yeah, I have some video evidence. I have them. As soon as I saw them reaching for the side, I grabbed my goggles. I already had a mask because it was Corona season, and I put my pit helmet on in case batons started flying. Everybody stay. I didn't listen to them. I just stayed there. But then they let Craig come and relieve me, and then Craig took over, and Craig let me know that about 12 o'clock there was a crowd that came in, and it was a smaller crowd. And then at about 1:30, boom! That same 1,400 with probably 500. Maybe more than 500, according to Craig, more. So now you're rimming on 2,000 people. That's when the tear gas came out. Not while I was there, it was pepper spray. But that's when, and at that point, they cleared everyone out, and they had more Secret Service come in. They're searching the grass area. The dogs now are with them. They want to make sure no one dropped anything. But we're the ones that want justice. The next day, this fence, it wasn't up yet. The day after, they put a chain link fence, not this, but a chain link fence. People are throwing things over toward the cops and everything, and then the bathroom was put on fire. And then Donald J. Trump needed a reason to hold the Bible upside down in front of the church. So one of his goon squad put the basement on. We love the Reverend. The Reverend's wife, the Reverend's husband, them too. We love them. They were bringing out water. They were bringing out nature growing bars. They were bringing out apples, oranges. They were bringing out fruit, donuts, bagels. They were making sure the activists had sustenance, that we did not go dehydrated. We would not have done that to those two Reverends' church because they were not even looking at people for their faith. And they were just feeding and just being good stewards of justice.
Yes, and just trying to exercise their First Amendment rights.
Right.
So you got pushed back here in all this. Had they told you that you're going to be permitted to go back there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
On January 22nd, we'll be able to go into the park. They'll be taking down the bleachers. They'll be taking down the. It's basically a house. It's a 3-story house that has only window at the front of it because it's a viewing stage for the generals, their wives, and special invitees of who right now is called the president-elect, but the next president. And they go slow motion, and then they end up at the Capitol where the stage is to the inauguration. But the beginning of the inauguration parade starts here with Biden coming out of the Blair House and getting into a bulletproof Secret Service to the front and to the back room. Then, if he will do it the way the presidents usually do it, he'll get into the Beast, the presidential limousine that every president uses. It doesn't get to be 8 years old. I don't know if they auction it off or it becomes part of a museum. And then, of course, the president gets also Secret Service detail to the front and to the back of him. They go slow motion, and the president's supposed to be there, and in the audience watching the new president get sworn in. But I don't think he will do it.
Yeah, I really truly believe that all the nonsense with the coronavirus. I personally have my opinion of other geopolitical events that are going on that are not being covered in the media. I'm not going to get into that right now, but just remember that I am in front of the anti-nuclear proliferation tent. Personally, I believe that there's nuclear warfare, biological, chemical warfare going on. Call it population control, whatever you want to call it.
Nagasaki and Hiroshima wasn't the last time that they used a nuclear device. They used it in Afghanistan, they used it in Iraq. Instead, they're torpedoes, but they're nuclear.
Follow the money and the lies all the way to the Zionists.
Always. Not to be anti-innocent Hebrew people, but Zionism is a monster.
Amen to that. As always, thank you for tuning into the Archangel 15. We have a special thank you to Felipo for his dedicated time here today, dedicated service since 1981. We hope that you're here another 30, how many years?
Another 30 years?
30 years.
Oh man, I'll be 89.
Anyways, we'll check back in, maybe get some more stories from you in the future.
Okay, power to the people.